28 years ago a Mercedes-Benz S280 crashed into the wall of the tunnel at the Alma Bridge, and of the 4 passengers 3 died. The driver, a producer, the heir of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed, and Princess Diana. 2 official investigations were carried out into the case, one in France in 1999 and another in the United Kingdom in 2008, and the final conclusion boiled down to a combination of faulty seatbelts in the rear seats, aggressive pursuit by the paparazzi, and the presence of alcohol in the driver's blood. However, numerous hypotheses arose around the tragedy, from which the story is now proposed to be told, each of which rests on its own set of strange details and on particular testimonies from the same materials that were handed over to the investigation and the public. One of the theories asserts directly, Prince Charles allegedly had a hand in the death of his former wife. A large-scale operation under the code name Paget was launched into the case, which in 2004 was led by the head of Scotland Yard, John Stevens. At the center of attention was a letter that Lady Spencer had given to her butler Paul Burrell about 2 years before her death, and a fragment of this letter appeared in a newspaper in 2003. It contained the princess's suspicion that her husband might arrange a staged accident and then marry the nanny of their sons. Stevens questioned the prince as a witness and read the note aloud, asking exactly 3 questions about its contents, to which Charles replied that he had learned about the letter from the press and did not understand the reasons for its appearance, but the mere fact of the existence of such a document fueled the theory of royal involvement. Another version is based on the efforts of Mohammed Al Fayed to discredit the official account. He believed that the aim of the killing was not so much the person of the princess as the fear of a possible marriage to a foreigner and its religious unacceptability. According to him, if Diana had married Dodi, the Egyptian could have become the stepfather of the heir to the throne, which allegedly would have blocked the dynasty's succession. Al Fayed also insisted that the princess was expecting a child by the son, but a blood test for chorionic gonadotropin returned a negative result, and forensic experts established that Diana was taking contraceptives, from which it followed that pregnancy was unlikely. CCTV observation on the 30th of August recorded Dodi near the Alberto Rossi jewelry boutique, where, according to various accounts, he either took a catalog or purchased 2 rings, which spawned rumors of a proposal to which he would allegedly have responded with refusal. These details gave cause to present the death as a reaction to the supposed change in family status. The third hypothesis accuses intelligence services of involvement in the tragedy through the figure of the driver, who, according to official materials, ought not to have been driving that car that evening at all. The man left work at 7 o'clock and, according to the British investigation's estimate, by the time of the call to the Ritz had already had about 5 glasses of the apéritif Ricard. The concentration of alcohol in his blood exceeded the permissible limit by 3 times, but neither Dodi nor Diana nor the bodyguard smelled alcohol, which spawned rumors of a possible substitution. Opponents of this version were also alarmed by strange monetary deposits into Paul Burrell's account totaling £170,000 sterling in the 6 months before the trip, which some interpreted as a motive for interference, whereas the Paget investigation considered it impossible to force the driver to work on that particular night. And the reliability of this version was undermined by the fact that the route was changed at the last moment because of a congregation of paparazzi at the restaurant to which they had originally planned to go. The fourth version focuses on the appearance of a third car in the tunnel, a small Fiat Uno, which, according to witness testimony and expert assessments, cut across the Mercedes. At least 2 came under suspicion: the photographer James Ananson, who had previously photographed the couple, and the Vietnam-born Lou Van Ton, who later admitted repainting the car. Ananson insisted that his 9-year-old Fiat physically could not have overtaken the Mercedes, which had been accelerated to a speed of 150 km per hour, yet soon after the interrogation he sold the car, which raised additional questions. In May 2000 his body was found in a burned-out car with a gunshot wound to the back of the head, and the police ruled it a suicide, whereas relatives and friends insisted on murder, which added mystique to the conspiracy version. Another interpretation suggests that the Secret Services staged the operation without outside help, using a series of carefully calculated details. An argument is put forward that the very car was replaced during the day with an older model whose maximum speed is limited to about 60 km per hour, but in the tunnel the vehicle was reaching a speed of about 150 km per hour. The seatbelts turned out to be faulty precisely on the rear seats. There was no recording on 14 of the tunnel's cameras because the video surveillance system belongs to the city's transport company, whose employees leave their posts after 11 o'clock at night, and consequently, there are no recordings. Supporters of the version added that the driver was first cut off and then blinded by a bright flash, a technique that former intelligence officer Richard Tomlinson spoke about, referring to a similar tactic allegedly used previously when neutralizing important targets. Although he later recanted his words and investigative bodies found no confirmation. Mohammed Al-Fayed also put forward an alternative idea. The target might have been a certain specific person, primarily his son, and the princess turned out to be a victim of circumstances. In the biography of the owner of Harrods and the Fulham Football Club, there were examples of sharp conflicts with the British elite, and he openly spoke of long-standing attempts to obtain citizenship, which ultimately did not succeed. As an example of heightened tensions, he cited the resignation from government of a member of parliament whose reputation suffered after Al-Fayed's publications about meetings at the Ritz with dubious guests, which allowed one to suppose the existence of numerous enemies and motives for an assassination specifically against members of his family. Finally, the most romantic and at the same time the most controversial version states that the princess herself staged her own death in order to disappear once and for all from royal duties and prying eyes. Supporters of this idea point to Diana's habit of joking about her own death during long journeys and to the fact that her funeral was held in a closed coffin at a separate family burial ground on the Oval Isle, where members of the Spencer family and their pets were buried, which, in their view, could serve as a convenient disguise and a means of preventing pilgrimages by gawkers. This version is fueled by the desire to believe that a mysterious woman, tired of constant surveillance, could have staged her disappearance with astonishing boldness.